Hi team! Just me, Rowan, and I am going through all of the assets I have, which is not very many, for our point-and-click adventure game, Escape from Cornsbrook. All of my stories take place in or around Cornsbrook, so these are all characters that if you know my work, you're going to already know the characters, but it'll make sense in the game in a way that you don't have to have read my stuff. I'd like you to read my stuff, you don't have to, for the game to make sense. And a couple of the characters even are from upcoming things that have not come out yet. That, I don't know, will any exist by the time the game comes out? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I like the character designs, and again, they'll make sense in the context of the game. So I had done a prototype of this game as a TTRPG, and everybody had fun. So I'm looking at the assets that I used for that game, because it was all kind of piecemealed together, you know, from other things, from comics I have, from sketches, all kinds of stuff. So some of that is obviously going to have to be completely redone, plus all new stuff that I didn't get to in that little demo thing. But some of the stuff I think I can just fix up and use. So that's what we're doing here today. For example, this deer that also becomes a horrible deer. The horrible deer I hadn't colored, so I'm just going to make it the same colors as the regular deer. It's Cornsbrook, so there's sort of, I wouldn't say another dimension you're looking into, but it can be a little eldritch horror, a little Lovecraftian. There is a sense that there's maybe a doorway to the underworld, because there is. If you ever read Oh Heldana, there's very blatantly portals to the underworld. And so things just come in and hang out sometimes. And there are things that look one way and then turn out to be another way. In Entropy Head, the main character, Matthew, he sees beyond the realm, right? He goes into the other realm in terms of visually. He can see things other people aren't seeing. And so whoever is playing this game, my logic is you'll be able to do that. Able to, as though it's a handy skill. You're gonna be kind of forced to do that. You'll be seeing everything at once. When I was playing as a TTRPG, it was very much, you would roll to see if you were losing your mind, and then that would determine what you could and could not see. But in terms of a point and click, click the right thing and you'll see it. Explore and you'll see it. We might have a couple different endings possible. Maybe, maybe not. We're playing with a lot of different things. But all of it looks like it's gonna be real fun. And effectively a crash course in my work, yeah. But again, doesn't have to be. You don't have to think about it that way at all. I just think it's funny. I was gonna say Stephen King has Maine. It's a real place. People live there. But Cornsbrook is, a place that I used to go to a lot when I was having nightmares as a kid. I just understood that that's what the place was called. And as I learned to lucid dream, I had an interesting childhood. I just became very comfortable in this horrible nightmare world. Hand chandeliers and rooms made out of meat and whatever, it was fine. Multiple serial killers, it's fine. They know me. And my artwork definitely showed the world how I was feeling and what was going on inside my head and the things I was going through in some way or another. So, they became different stories, they became different characters, they became Cornsbrook. Even my novel series, my Diesel Punk Noir series, that doesn't technically take place in Cornsbrook, but the characters talk about Cornsbrook a lot, and by the third book, I'm thinking that far ahead. Right now the first book is out, and I'm still working on the second book, but by the third book, they're gonna be possibly going to Cornsbrook. At some point they will go to Cornsbrook. Because that's where everybody goes, at some point or another. Cornsbrook, the main building is the asylum, and other people from outside of Cornsbrook, other people in America, understand that after deinstitutionalization, the concept of the asylum as we used to know it, as Arkham, right? That doesn't really exist so much anymore. We have wings of hospitals, and there's good and bad to that, right? Good in that you can't be abused in that setting anymore, because it doesn't exist. Bad in that when you have a mental health crisis, you are put temporarily, if you can even afford it, in a hospital, and then oftentimes just let go to wander out, fend for yourself. Here's the dumpster. The dumpster is probably going to be pretty much the same, but that wall, I painted the wall. The wall is a painting that actually exists, and I just copy pasted over and over, pieced it together to make it look like a wall. That's just made with a sponge, fun fact. But yeah, so that's not going to be the final wall. It just worked for the sake of the TTRPG. But the posters, I want them to be basically the same. I just want to fix them up and make them a little bit more legible, and I don't know. This one needs to be as legible as, but it's going to look like marker, right? Like somebody just wrote this on a piece of paper they found. So this one is probably the easiest. Free books at library, but to keep. Please take them. Matthew, again, the main character of Entropy Head, is a librarian. And so he's a librarian in this as well. Although the woman that he works for is probably going to be manning a deli, and she'll talk about it being like her side gig. It's a whole world. It's a whole world that I've spent so much time in, and now I want everyone else to join me. I'm withering this up. Does that look too much like marble? What else can I do to this? I want to give it a little bit of texture. I want it to look older and like it was maybe crumpled up at some point, and then, like, someone tried to flatten it out again. Crinkly, I guess the word is. I want it to look crinkly and a little weathered. And there are different ways to make it weathered, but definitely darkening it up. Gotta darken it up while still, again, giving it legible. But I assume the way we're gonna do it is you'll click on a thing and then it can zoom into the thing. Whatever the thing in question might be. But maybe this was ripped off of something. Maybe a little subtle. There we go. A little more subtle. I like the idea of it being torn off and maybe taped back up a few times or something. In the context of the game, there are free books, and one of those books, one of the characters wants. So in order to get what the character can give you, you have to give him one of these books. And others just tell a little bit about the town itself. Cornsbrook doesn't have a brook and is not known for corn, but it is Cornsbrook. And here is Dedray Demeter. And yes, it's pronounced Dedray. I was very young when I came up with this character. It did not occur to me that people would not... Why would you look at that and say Dedray? Dedray. I have ranted about this character before in other videos. But he's a serial killer, and he makes a lot of puns. And so logically, there would be a wanted poster for him. There's no cops in Cornsbrook. Like... There's just not. There's no police officers anywhere in Cornsbrook. There have been in the past. There are implications with that. So I'm making this a little weathered as well. Looking a little dirty, looking a little old. I'm thinking it should have some kind of like a blood stain. That seems appropriate. And in the game, you're gonna look at this poster, and that'll trigger a shadow. And I'm hoping to animate the shadow, so it's Dedray laughing behind you, and when you look, of course, he's gone. But you'll be able to talk to him later on in the game as well. You'll be able to go to his house. There might be... You might go into the house. You might, like, actually hang out with some of the other characters who would live in there, but, you know, you might just be outside of it. I haven't decided yet. Neither has Rob. This is a group project. Splatter. I don't like the splatter. It implies that it was bled on top, like it was already laying down and someone bled on it, but that's not really what I want. Yeah, okay. More of a stain. Like it was dropped and dipped in blood. Yeah, sure, why not? And the carnival. There's a carnival in Entropy Head. There's carnivals a lot in my stories. Carnivals and fairs. There's a fall fair and autumn fair. Um, it's usually autumn in Cornsbrook. It's usually Halloween time. And I did base the witchy lady on myself. A very creepy version of me. With a tiny little pointy hat. And yes, that is a worm on a string next to me. That is my buddy. The ghost behind me. There might be a speed drawing of me making this actual pic. I don't know. It was a while ago. And here's the travel poster. Hopefully you didn't want to leave anyway. Cornsbrook. It's hard to leave once you're there. And that is the asylum, with something coming out of the lake behind it. And I figure that's Morgan's house. Morgan is the other serial killer. Morgan is already dead. Morgan Barrel is Calendar in O Heldana. He's a guy who hangs upside down, and in the underworld he's just literally a calendar. He can open up his chest to show what the date is and what the other characters have scheduled. And he was much worse than Deadray, because Deadray you could have a conversation with. Morgan you really couldn't. So, yeah, more than one serial killer. And Morgan is still impacting Cornsbrook, even after death. And you will be able to go to Morgan's house. His house you absolutely will go into, and you'll see his stuff. His horrible, horrible stuff. And so, $10,000 for proof of life after death. There will be a doll that can get possessed that was by the dumpster, and you'll be able to interact with the dead on some level. Because, like I said, there's a doorway, a few of them, that go to the underworld. I don't think you'll be going actually into the underworld in this game. That could be a sequel. Who knows? But yeah, so this is what I'm working on. Escape from Cornsbrook. I'm working on a lot of things. Lots and lots of things that I can fiddle with, that I can make better, and for now, rock on.